Oh, yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Morgenrede. Welcome to Media Agnostic Doom Journaling. This is a weekly open mic for poets, playwrights, musicians, any kind of creative artist online or in real life or in the virtual world. We invite everyone to come and read their extreme, crazy prose, their weird fiction, their absurd nonfiction, their incredibly zesty, spicy, gossipy autofiction, whatever the fuck. We are here for not the things you want to read, but the things you don't want to read, all of the juicy stuff. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started with a person who uh, is hard to define and categorize, but nonetheless, they shock, they amaze, and they are fucking crazy in terms of prose. Rudy Johnson, baby.
Hell yeah. Um, no, so my town is getting hit by a wild ass storm right now.
No shit, dude. Yeah, I've got some weather in Memphis. Not right now, but the winds are coming, so I know that like tonight
Yeah.
it's just gonna fucking fall. I almost had a transformer
It,
blow up outside of my house this last week, dude. Shit's been fucking weird.
holy shit, man.
Yeah.
No, it's the wind has been bad here. I don't know what's going on with that, but tonight it seems like at least I'll have power, hopefully. But if I cut out, that's probably why. Um,
All right. It's
let me
good
see
to
if I can
know it's
get
the weather and not like you're not getting kidnapped or something.
Oh yeah, no. If somebody tried to kidnap me, they would face the full wrath of my mental illness, I guess. So that'd be bad for them. Let me see if I can link to this. Let me see if I can link to this piece that I got here. Hold on a second. Yo, see, can you guys see this one? Is it like viewable or whatever?
Yeah, let me see. Let me click on it. Yep.
Because there is a
Oh,
piece in here that it might benefit. Okay, very cool. Okay, alrighty. So this is called Insanity Wolf something. I don't know if I'll. It's got a picture of Insanity Wolf. If you don't know what the Insanity Wolf meme is, God bless you. Um, anyway, here we go. This first one is called Jubal Early. My EMDR appointment was at 8 a.m. Jubal Early. The therapist said, "Have you ever been raped before?" And that made me feel like Kaylee, even though I'm the black villain. This one's called Infinity War. Thanos snapping at a poetry reading. Socially appropriate, but actually cutthroat behavior. Now he doesn't have to follow the trauma witch with the scarlet letter, red letter pass, or the suave guy who blasts with both barrels. And what did it cost? This next one's called Nicolas Maduro. In James Cameron's Avatar, the evil commander is a veteran of a Venezuelan war. An Omen? Hell yeah. Space in our future. Space faggot. And blue women. This next one's called Big Trouble in Little China. If the Chinese do Taiwan in 2027, something something NATO, it won't be the first time people in Frisco are forced underground. Camera, pan low, down deserted streets with hazardous slopes, and capture Asiatic ghosts, wind, fire, all that kind of thing. This next one on the next page is called Pretending to be Human. Three goblins in a trench coat. One doesn't want to, but she's the head. One is the shotgun, another the Sig Sauer. Sour. And the head is screaming, "Run, I'm sorry," over gunfire, over and over. Lone female active shooter, over. Actions louder than words until press time. Cops shoot for the center mass. This next one called Pretending to Be Human Part 2. 3 goblins in a trench coat. One doesn't want to. Fucking pussy. The head is a boy's head. The left leg quiver is facing the western front. At the draft office, quartermasters inquired how old, what town, nothing else. Right hand holds a white feather, and his iron grip. Iron and men meet and irony. Cross of iron. Snipers shoot for anything exposed. This next one is called Jack Frost, and I apologize for this. I really do. Lord, I apologize. Uh, if everything was meticulously animated, Renee Good would still have time. Time enough to die. Stop motion. The animator has already storyboarded it. Death lurking inside keyframes. Tweens make room for wonder, as she said. And does anybody really know what time it is? Thank God for our North Country, where the only way I'll be killed by ice is if it falls off a roof. Me, the snow miser, answering to Mother Nature. Catch me in Minneapolis, New York City, Chicago, as I was walking down the street one day. This last one isn't a poem, it's a game, because poems are gay and games are also gay. But yeah. This is not Calvin Ball because Bill Watterson probably hates AI. First, the hard part. Find 3 to 6 people who want to play a TTRPG. Fuck the tabletop role-playing games community. 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 Anyway, you need people who don't have retarded schedules, who aren't retards, like literally or socially, uh, who aren't strongly against AI because communism, Captain Planet, demons, or trad shit. And second, the insane part. Play a game you haven't ever played, like you know the rules, like you play it all the time, like Calvin Ball. The game isn't real. Play it loudly over Discord. Record yourselves doing it. Third, the part that's easy unless you're a coral reef bleaching in the sun, dead. Hand the recording to an AI. Have it transcribe it. Feed the transcription back to the AI. Tell it you want to play the game in the transcription. Tell it to explain the rules in 500 words or less. Tell it you need it to act as an arbiter for the rules. Tell it to be firm with the rules like Gary Gygax. Tell it to act like Gary Gygax. Ask it what the game is about. Fourth, the really insane part. Find 3 to 6 people who want to play a TTRPG who aren't strongly against AI because who cares why. Present your 500 words to them. Explain that the AI knows the game. Tell them to ask the AI if they have any questions. Let the AI answer. Let Gygax's spirit churn away in the city of brass. Finally, the hardest part. Play the game. Thank you.
Rudy, I swear to God, who needs fucking Stephen Colbert or Jon Stewart? We need you to psychoanalyze all political events that happen from here on out. I, lo- oh my God, the fucking, if only we had animated and stop motion with, oh, the fuck, with Renee. Jesus Christ. Your sins are forgiven, but I will not forgive you for how amazing these poems are. And that last poem, what was it supposed to be? What was the design?
Oh, I don't know. It was supposed to kind of look like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, I guess. I don't know really. Like
Ah,
the head
okay.
is kind of dubious, but yeah.
I feel like if that was further away from my laptop, I probably would have seen that. Okay.
It doesn't exactly like look like that. So I wasn't really sure. I was at first I started to make an hourglass and I was like that looks stupid, so I went with that, whatever that is.
Yeah, I remember the Insanity Wolf meme. Like
Oh
anytime
yeah.
I saw it, I was like, "Oh God!" Like that was like out of all the memes that like those type of reaction memes. What that they're not really reaction memes. They were, I guess, just top text and bottom text memes. That one would always have that
Yeah.
where you're like, "Ooh!" Like people are gonna be upset. People are gonna be downvoting this one.
Yep.
People had I don't know, but like that's the thing, you know, you have these poems which kind of embody the wolf kind of this, you know, like fuck it, I'm gonna put out, you know, what I think, and how I think with all of, you know, the eccentric lines with each work here and with each piece. Fuck yeah. I don't it's again, only you can involve Venezuela. Let me go back. Only you could involve Venezuela, Jack Frost, goblins in trench coats, China and Taiwan, Maduro and Venezuela, the Avengers, and then fucking the lady that got shot. Like only you could
Oh
do
yeah.
that
Rip.
and keep the pieces going. I feel like I need to be careful every time I describe your pieces because like someone's gonna keep me on file. Like, yeah, he was his biggest fan. He was the one that
He enabled his evil behavior as the, his narcissistic, what, something. I don't know.
that's all I am.
He was an enabler.
I enable the extremes. I mean, you know, you know, thank God for people like Mark that have pushed me to have the extreme work in this space. But that's what I fucking want. You know, I
Oh
would
yeah.
be offended if you didn't go harder, Rudy.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you for letting me go hard.
Oh, absolutely, Rudy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. These were fucking great. I'm like,
Oh,
oh my God. Okay, before I laugh anymore.
thanks, dude.
All right. Thank you, Rudy. Up next,
Hell
we
yeah.
have Mark Parsons.
Hey, thank you, Rudy. Loved those poems. Really liked the last one. Even though I didn't know anything about the references, um, but
Thanks, Mark.
great pop culture references in the short ones. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, I was that Calvin and Hobbes one was funny, even though I like know nothing about gaming. I'm going to read two poems tonight. The links are in the chat. The first poem, A Funeral After Her Period. She conducts a funeral after her period. A brass band plays a dirge. Shut up and eat your cricket bar. Everyone is there. Her mother and her mother's biker boyfriend and her brother, baker of light and fluffy pastel things. On the way home, they stop off at a grocery store and roam the aisles of packaged foods. Who'd have thought gluten is used in so many different things? Her born again sister muses, looking at a squeeze bottle of mustard. At moments like these, the subtle distinctions, condiment or food, stabilizer or binder, come back with a roar, marring whatever equanimity had accrued to blur the world like the brushed stainless steel refrigerator door, but that's now dented, nicked, and tweaked where someone's spouse emptied the pantry of canned goods at the other who cowered behind the morning after the most recent row. Back at home, the family gathers around the fireplace, seated in molded plastic patio chairs taken from nested stacks in the corner of the living room. In the light of a musk scented candle, she offers up a prayer to her father's bronzed combat boot on the mantle. He served in the special forces. Later, after the war, he ran off with a red-headed Jewess and reinvented himself as a heat-packing DA in Las Vegas, where he now strong-arms the heavies between days-long binges playing roulette, always betting on black. The second poem, This Isn't to Say. This isn't to say I'm not embarrassed, because I am. But if you were watching upstairs in your office on closed circuit TV, as one of your hardest workers had a violent freak out on the factory floor, and you felt in some way entertained, gratified, even, the answer is no, you shouldn't reprimand me. It's the same with women and sex. If she gets herself off to the memory later, it wasn't assault, much less rape. That disembodied every woman's smirk, the voice that taunts like musical water torture from out of the ether because she knows she'll win in the end. I know you owner gods of this here business must be satisfied, must see, if nothing else, passion from your workers, no matter how inappropriate, misdirected, or destructive, and come hell and high water, I showed it to you. Of that, there can be no doubt. The LCD thermometer is tapped out at 110 every day by noon for 6 weeks. Without ventilation, the viscous air as heavy as pudding while we paced the floor of the factory, dead-eyed, exhausted, and restless, disconsolate chickens looking in vain for something to peck, sometimes pecking at nothing at all, clutched and clawed by the cloying heat as abrasive as emery powder, swallowed up by the mantle of the earth and lost in the boiling mineral cauldron like a cube of sourdough bread in cheese fondue. The lonely chicken waltz became a frenzied cockfight with my own shadow. Thank you.
Interesting. These were so the first poem I had heard before. At least it sounds familiar. But the second poem, This Isn't to Say. Uh, man, I hate to always ask you just to go in, but I'm like, it's your pieces are always something to figure out, whether it's something as simple as just how it starts, and then the insane, not insane, but the I guess the expanding descriptions that occur later on in your works that kind of keep you within the poem but take you out a bit just to kind of get into that the images and the intense descriptors that go along with what you're trying to say.
Well, you know, I think descriptive writing is a style, and someone once referred to David Foster Wallace as a descriptive writer,
Mm.
right? And I thought that was interesting. I never considered him that way, but there is some truth to that in the way that reading his prose, you're really, it's very figurative, it's very sensory, and it kind of envelops you. Um, and I I probably feel some kinship with him
Mm.
as in terms of how I write. And just I tend to write in a very sensory way, and a lot of emphasis on the image. Uh, and so, there, but yeah. So I mean, I would say generally that's something that my work relies on. I don't feel like I'm a particularly narrative poet. I don't feel like I'm a very lyrical writer necessarily. Um, and so and I would say generally in these poems, I think of them as spatial.
Mm.
Uh, I think the poems move spatially,
Yes.
and I think they try to resolve themselves sort of spatially. But at the same time, I'm having fun, and I'm probably in the vernacular that people say I'm trying to push boundaries, uh, you know, and sometimes I can be a little antagonistic, or I can uh, but generally, I'm trying to write for myself in a way that I find exciting and interesting and stimulating.
No, yeah, it's definitely stimulating, and there's definitely a lot of spatial descriptors. I mean, it just takes you from one place to another, but with a flow, right? Because it's not like because there's like surreal writing, but this is description. This is like
Right. It's not surrealism. It's kind of grounded in something that's recognizably, you know, our world,
yeah,
or somewhat adjacent to it. Um, and I would say, two things that I think about a lot is John Anderson was one of my teachers, and he was a great poet. And I never really considered him like my teacher, like a mentor or anything, but I did enjoy learning with him. And he used to say that art is based in exaggeration, right? And I think to write a poem, you're engaging in a degree of exaggeration. Um, and I think writing a poem is about a heightening of experience. You're experiencing the world in a more intense way that's also kind of ties into the idea of exaggeration. And so that's a lot of, what the experience is for me and what I'm trying to give to my reader, a kind of heightening of experience that that hopefully they enjoy.
yeah, and because it's tough as a creative to take in through the senses and to try and relate that. And if you do it on just a basic level, you're never going to reach people unless you exaggerate and say, you know what, like just kind of like throwing paint from across the room like a fucking bullet at a canvas. It's like that's what I'm trying to say. Do you fucking
Right.
need it now? And it's like, okay, yes, I do. You didn't have to be that aggressive, but it's like, well, sometimes you have to be. Sometimes you really have to be aggressive with your word choice, with your descriptors, and with your images that you pull together. And then it's, a matter of how do I want to lay it out? And then in your case, do I want to resolve this poem or not? And it's a complete style choice, right? Um, Fucking A. Yeah, I think that for me, it's become a skill to try and recognize, okay, there's no narrative here. So now what am I supposed to be picking up on? And it's not, crucial at all to have narrative. I try not to have too much narrative in my work, but it's always kind of like, am I creating a space? And if I'm not creating a space, what are my descriptors doing? Are the descriptions, are the things, the items, the people, places, are they related to each other? Are they not? If not, why? And it's always it's trouble because it always comes back to me. It always comes back to the artist. But again, the fact that you're having fun with it, I think, is amazing. Because and I noticed that what this second poem was published a few days ago. It was published 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a fuck it. And to compare that with the other poem, which was published, it was the day before my birthday. That was fucking 3 or 4 months ago.
I'm always really grateful to whoever the don't submit person is, because I feel like there are a handful of editors who publish some of my poems that probably are not going to get published anywhere else. Um,
Yeah.
just to kind of say something, a while back I was having a conversation with Filet O'Calvin, who's I don't know what his real name is, but his handle is Filet O'Calvin, and I think he published a book with Expat.
Is it Calvin
He's a
Westra?
prose writer.
I think it's Calvin Westra. I think, yeah, but
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's Calvin Westra.
Yeah.
right. And so he and I were talking on a thread, and we were kind of saying how he kind of was agreeing with me that a lot of writing is not resolved narratively for him. And I kind of, agreed to the extent that I think of narrative as kind of just an excuse, right? It kind of provides a setting or kind of a canvas, but the real work of the poem and the real work of creating meaning and kind of creating the experience is, it's just kind of providing a lattice or a structure or a skeleton on which the parts are kind of hung. And I tend to, and he kind of agreed that the narrative, the setting, these are just things that you kind of use to create, to vibe around, right? To kind of use as the opportunity or the justification for the writing.
I like that. Creating a lattice or a structure rather than focusing on narrative. Damn. Well, shit, Mark. I'm always just so like to have these conversations. It's always so fascinating to me, and I always learn so much. And it's always incredible to see what you are bringing with your poetry and the fact that you're still getting published. And yeah, I fucking love the Don't Submit guy. I wish I think someone told me what his name was or who he was, but the fact that
Really, I was hoping it was a woman, because like
it could be fucking A.
I don't remember, but I was hoping it was a woman, because I was like, there is a woman who's an editor who will publish me. I might not get that, but it's a pleasure to be here and to talk with you and to have this space to share my poetry and to be here with everyone. So thank you, Colton, for doing this.
Absolutely, Mark. Always a pleasure. Always love hearing your work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, everybody check out Mark's poetry on Expat, with which is now assumed not control, but has assumed a partnership with Don't Submit, which they publish some of my work and fuck, I miss there is nothing that gets me out of bed faster than a press that can publish your work in less than an hour after submitting. It's very unfucking. I don't know. You just don't see it anymore, and I'm always shocked when I get an email quickly after a submission. That's not just an immediate rejection, but it's it is what it is. All right. Up next, coming to read, again, an old school buddy, a person who I've met in real life, and he is an absolute gentleman, but Brandon Norcross.
What I'm about to say is absolutely not some gentlemanly shit.
Yes.
I want to lead in, though, by saying I am incredibly honored to be able to follow what Rudy and Mark just read, because these are two guys that come from a different angle psychologically from where I come, and they do it the right way. They do it with actual thought, actual intelligence, and actual integrity. And that's what I love to see is different mindsets, different angles, different thoughts. So thank you guys for doing what you do. That is what it is all about. Now that said, I currently have COVID. I got a fever over 100 degrees right now. That's why I sound like absolute dog shit. So it's also been one hell of a news cycle, and I've had nothing to do for the last 48 hours other than doom scroll. So let's fucking do this. So this is the voice of America now. Sounds like the voice of a bitch. 100 million birds tweets must have flipped you into a switch. Tell me, how does that leather boot taste? You used to fight oppression, used to recognize reality. Now you can't even spot a distraction. The party tells you to ignore your own eyes and ears. Will you comply? Or does the red pill analogy lose all meaning when it isn't victimizing women? You know, my shoe's a little dirty. How about a cleaning? Media illiterates masquerading as literati failed to understand the context of what happens in real time and blind to what happens next. Maybe we should get down to their level. Something a little more based. Something where you don't have to read between the lines in ink so it can't be erased. What comes after a Minnesota or a Maduro? A Scipiora? A Marrero? Funny, those names don't sound white. The only one I've seen that'll have a pass seems to be Homelander stand-in. Am I right? Can I speak your language for a minute? I know why you're so obsessed with cruelty. And here's a hint in the mirror. You can't spell United States without 3 lowercase t's. You want to call out liberal pussies? There's no pussies here. Just me dropping the Buick on the table. Now be a good surf brain and get me a fucking beer. But back to being serious for just a final bar. This all comes down to the grift, and it all boils down to clout. But the world starts waking up and sees the truth. Is it really worth losing all respect from within and from without? Fucking bitch.
Man. Uh, it's so first off fucking awesome. But I you take
Thank
the
you.
feelings and the expressions out of my soul, for it feels like for I mean, goddamn, we've really had this dude, you know, in charge and in president since I was in fucking college, which we've gone through a whole pandemic. And no matter what, I'll always hate whoever's in president because this, as a person who I don't know, like I've been to DC. I was in DC when Donnie got elected, and it was it depressed me to a point where I gave up politics and studying it. I don't fuck with it anymore because I just kind of I want to protect this, I want to be as sane as possible. But it's tough, you mentioned being sick and you want to, you've got this stupid goddamn thing and you want to check the news, you want to see how your friends are doing on Facebook, you want to, check in with, your writer friends, but like, oh my God, every fucking day it's some stupid dumb bullshit. Every fucking day. And it's
It
not,
no, and it gets worse every fucking time.
uh,
You get the shit in Minneapolis, then you get the shit in Portland the following day. You got them doing press conferences just flat out lying about video that's readily available that was
it's
filmed by one of the assholes that killed somebody.
I've
And
never
absolutely unbelievable.
the fact that like I can't even look at video footage online anymore and
Hmm.
say like, oh, this is real, this is not real. I mean, there was already, fabrication of evidence going way back, decades. People erasing people out of history and burning documents, whatever. But now it is like it's hard to even have a conversation now because I'm like, okay, where did you get X, Y, and Z information? How is it being presented? Who reported on it? So on and so on. Um, and the news feed doesn't make it any better. News feeds only make it worse. And it's a shame because my parents grew up on as like CNN people that watched 9/11 happen over and over and over and over again. And again, that does something to your fucking head. And it
Absolutely.
and to see, innocent Americans, just being killed and seeing
Absolutely. And you look back and you can pin the blame on Reagan and Clinton.
yeah,
One Republican, one Democrat. They're the ones
absolutely.
that made the laws that allowed the news to become biased. It's their responsibility that we're in this fucking mess.
Yeah, fucking A. And of course, and I think it's so poignant that you have COVID while you delivered this, like, complete, just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, your blood is literally boiling,
Fuck yeah, man.
the boiling red, man. And there's a lot of
Oh
red
yeah.
going on. It's like, I always think, like, where is the hope? Because the internet answer is like, oh, well, fuck the conservatives when we get a Democrat president. I'm like, well, not necessarily.
Yep.
That's
It's
not
like
how
that's
that shit
not
works.
nah,
That's not how
nah,
you fix shit.
Nope.
no, no. Like
Yep.
for
That being said, I
yeah,
think every bootlicker deserves to be put out in traffic.
exactly. Like I want to see people actually understand that like if you don't have any inkling of political or military or any kind of power out there, like you are easily dismissed. You can be easily wiped off the fucking
Oh
map.
yeah.
Like
No, absolutely.
and
Hmm.
the place that I've found hope was in like, okay, let me go back into art and let me see what art can do for me. What can writing do for me? And writing did a lot. During the pandemic, I was glad to find MLC. I was glad to find fucking you guys, so that I didn't feel insane, even though I know I'm insane. But like, I didn't want to feel like I was like some, I don't know, like it's just so easy now to forget that you can be propagandized, that you can believe something that you don't want to believe. And it's troubling. Like it is absolutely fucking troubling. And like I hate seeing it happen on like some like Facebook. Oh God. Like I I only have Facebook for pinball, so like I can keep up with like
Hmm.
pinball tournaments, which is such a fucking weird reason to have Facebook. But that's why I have it. Um and now that Twitter X whatever is at this late stage, like I've been looking for other places. I mean, I'm still on Twitter, and I will be until like every press and all of you guys leave. That's when I'll go. But it's just hard to find. I don't know, real life again. That's not just so
Yeah.
tainted and so like, I mean, again, this is a place where we talk about Doom, whatever, but like Doom gets
Yeah.
old.
No.
God damn, I miss fucking cat pictures. Where's the Icon has
Fuck
cheeseburger?
yeah.
God
Fuck
damn
yeah.
it.
Strongly recommend Goblin Motor.
Goblin Motor. Okay.
It's the new name of Animals Going Goblin Mode. It is a fantastic thing. Every
Oh
time
yeah,
it
I've
pops
seen
up
that.
in my feed on X, it gives me that little bit of dopamine that all social media used to give.
I want to find this right now. Goblin Motor.
Goblin Motor.
Yep.
Are you saying you don't get dopamine hits anymore from your social media?
I do not.
Okay. Okay. That straight up question. I was just
I
wondering.
I get the exact opposite.
Okay.
There have actually been 3 month plus periods where I haven't signed into a single piece of social media.
Damn.
Facebook, I went over a year and a half. Same with
Oh,
Instagram.
Facebook,
It's
yeah. Yeah.
mostly
I mean, I
because
think that's probably a good thing.
no, it is
I
Yeah.
think,
absolutely.
I think, you know,
Absolutely. I think unplugging is vital
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
Yeah,
times.
you're right.
I think the country would be a lot better off if more people would unplug.
yeah.
Probably
And
true.
it's kind of weird because I mean, obviously this was a very political piece that I read. My boss is very much a lifelong conservative. He and I have had some of the best discussions politically that I have ever had with anyone.
What's his generation? Is he like
He's
X?
only 8 years older than I am, so yeah, he's Gen X.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, and Gen
Yeah.
X from Boston, from the Boston area.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about someone who is, raised conservative, grew up raised by a single father, and
Oh,
grew up
wow.
right in the heart of a hard unionized area
Yeah.
in a very
Very blue
diverse
collar.
neighborhood.
I mean,
Absolutely, blue collar as all
that's
hell.
about as straight talking, straight shooting.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
is from the exact same town that the Dropkick Murphys are from.
and
No, yeah.
that's very like no nonsense. Straight up
Exactly.
tell it like it is kind of guys. Um,
Exactly. And I think it's one of those things where he and I have those conversations because even though I come at things from the left, I'm very much the same mindset. It's very much a this is something that needs to be fixed.
Right,
The
because
country needs to be fixed. It doesn't need to be placated. It doesn't need to be to have a band-aid stuck on it.
you guys
You
can
need to actually get to the
understand,
root causes. Exactly.
you look at each other and go, we're still down here. Like
Exactly.
we're still being stepped on. Like we still like we can look at our people, quote unquote, our people that quote unquote share our values, whatever, and it's like they don't give a fuck. Like we've been
Yeah,
bought
no,
out and sold
that's
out so
exactly
many
it.
goddamn times that like if anything, what is as depressing as it is helpful is to figure it out. Like, okay, where's the money trail? When did this happen? Which committee sold this committee? And now,
Hmm.
what paramilitary? What psyop? Blah 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 blah. Again, buzzwords, but like,
Yeah. No.
it's at this point now where like
Yeah.
it's just so depressing. Where I'm like, oh, this cause was bought out years ago, and it's funding this, and this celebrity's
Hmm.
benefiting, and oh, this was all just a ruse, and
Yeah, no.
uh,
It's
uh,
it's
fuck.
addressing things like the wealth siphon, the fact that the money has been siphoned to the top of the pyramid for the last 40 fucking years,
Yeah.
more than ever before.
Oh yeah, and
And
inflation, and
you
it's
you watch as that top 1% has more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. It, this country has got to be headed for class consciousness. It's got to be headed for a class awakening. And
something. Yeah,
unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a clean solution for anybody. I want it to be a clean solution. I want it to be something that can be fixed.
better
But
a clean solution than a final solution.
it looks like it's going in an
That's fair.
ugly, ugly
But
direction.
Oh God. Well, Brandon, I hope you feel better. I I feel
Thank you,
like
thank you.
the last time I've been sick in the past 2 years twice, and it was one was on Christmas, and the other time was God like a few weeks ago. Actually, no, I've been sick 3 times. And every single time I was sick, I had exactly what you had, a lot of time to look at my timeline. And the first time when I got the flu on Christmas, a few weeks later, I sobered up because I was like, damn, I am tired of being dragged down by my vices and I want to see clear. And then the second time, I stopped smoking and vaping. I fucking miss smoking and vaping though. Oh my God, I just want to fucking light a dart right now in my room. God damn it. But yeah, it's again, finding what kind of dopamine you want to receive, having good conversations, knowing that everything's fucked, but taking care of yourself. So I hope you're taking care of yourself. Please get better. And also, Kat, I just saw welcome. Well, welcome to the happy Doom party. Yeehaw! I hope you're feeling better too. I hope you're not too sick either. Everyone, stop getting sick. God damn it! I don't want people to die. Anyways, thank you, Brandon. Okay, so we've done Rudy, we've done Mark, we've done Brandon. I think up next, who did we have? We had Lisa Marie.
Hi guys.
You
I'm
better
not
not be
sick, but I
sick.
haven't been talking all day, so my voice is a little
Okay. Okay.
weird. So, do you know if Tyler's coming from Lo-Fi
Ah,
later on?
he's got to. He's always here. He usually comes later.
Yeah, because he asked me if I had last week if I had any Trent Reznor inspired writing, and I have one in the vault. Um, but I'm gonna start off with the Some Words that was published yesterday
Hell yeah.
in the chat. Suited. You presented the idea of going to prom together as a math equation 2 weeks before the main event. I'd already paid my ticket, which was $30 more expensive than the couple's fee, and was content flying solo with my Lautrec-inspired dress. I said we're friends. You don't have to go out of your way to convince me to be your date. You replied, you were supposed to be salutatorian to my valedictorian, just like in 8th grade. I said, I like cutting class to go into Manhattan. You said, after prom was in the city, at the Comedy Cellar. Perhaps. I reminded you I didn't plan for that, and that those tickets were sold out. Not that I could afford them or a seat at the shared limo. You told me you'd reserved them for me already. I told you I'd owe you $20. You said my math was wrong and that everything canceled out. You lied. And I reminded you I would have been salutatorian to your valedictorian had I not cut class. I told you no corsage, but a single red rose for my hair. You arrived in front of my apartment building in your brother's beat up blue car, suited, and I handed you the boutonniere. You picked the best flower, and I pinned it to my curls. 17 years later, under strict orders not to congregate in crowds, I watched you from a small screen on my laptop. You were laying suited, awaiting transport to the pyre. I sat in tears. I sit in tears. The last time I saw you suited, we danced. We danced no more. And that one was for my buddy Nimesh Kshatriya.
Wow. Uh, like, oh, damn, what a twist. I should have seen it. I should have seen it because the beginning was so uh not nostalgic, but it was very like sentimental. Prom night was a very so don't tell anybody I told y'all this, but I won prom king my year. Somehow, some way, I was prom king. I thought they were gonna pour pig's blood on me, but they fucking didn't. It was a very fun year. It was a very fun night. I remember a lot about just I I almost gave my prom date because KFC was doing this thing where you could get the chicken drumstick what do you call it corsage. It was a chicken corsage, and I was like, "Can I give you a chicken corsage?" She was like, "Fuck no, you better not give me a chicken corsage." And I was like, "Boo!" But
Ooh.
shit, the fucking
Chicken corsage is fun.
hey, it's like you don't have to worry about it. You can eat it, it'd be delicious. You didn't want chicken corsage. I still regret not getting it, but yeah, that I mean, I'm looking at the chat here, and it's yeah, it hit like it is a great kind of moment to transport you, the many years later of seeing a person in a suit and the ways in which we wear suits, to celebrate these, moments in our lives where we,
Milestones.
yeah, the milestones, absolutely.
And
Um,
it's very like, especially in our culture, if you're not doing a very upper class or corporate thing, what do you get? You get prom, you get your wedding, you get funerals. What else do you get? Court.
or yeah. Oh fuck. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, that's for sure. You can't be going up there in your fucking shorts and t-shirts. Hell nah. It is yeah, it's strange because I had suits, not suits, but I had like a nice suit that I wore back in high school. I had one when I was in college, and it's been very rare for me to wear these nice clothes. And I love doing it when I can because I like remind people like, hey, I've got style. I just don't flex it all the time. But like just know I can clean up at any time and you fuckers are in trouble because I look good in slacks, I look good in shoes, my button ups fit me real good. But to see that progression of being suited up for the rest of your life, and then after the rest of your life you're suited to be transported, that was powerful. And congratulations on this publication. This is excellent, and super cool. We were just talking about forums, with like,
Yeah. This one came quick too. I was a quick
really,
turn. Well, the last few were very quick turnarounds. Um the last week of December, I sent in a bunch of things and I got a couple trickled in from months prior. And then the last weekend of the year, I got like six acceptances, like back
damn,
to back. And I was just like, oh, what's going on? Like I didn't even remember this one.
bro, you were on Santa's good list this
It's like, oh, and I was like, oh, damn, all these depressing ones are going to come out all together.
year.
Let me warn my people that I'm okay.
To post happy things. Like I promise, like I'm not trying to self harm. I'm good. I mean, you're just trying to get it out, and you got your work out there. I'm
I mean,
proud.
it also fits with the season. So, like, if certain things that I sent 3 months prior, they're like, oh, this will be good for, and it's like, yeah, when everybody's stuck at home in the dead of winter with seasonal affective disorder, yeah.
Bro. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I've been reading. Not see. This is why I bought my for the people that weren't here before. That's why I bought my John Waters book. I'm like, okay, I need something that's gonna make me laugh. I need a person that can entertain me about their life, so that when I read this stuff, it's not gonna bring me down. I'm gonna understand. I'm going to grieve with the piece. I'm going to empathize, and understand. Because I mean, shit. There was a woman. She was my friend. I didn't know her for too long. I think I knew her for maybe like less than a year, but she was helping me with employment when I was unemployed. She almost got me a job, but yeah, she had a seizure in her sleep and then fell out of her bed, hit her head, and then died. And this was like fucking 4 or 5 days
Wow.
ago. And I was like just going through my day, and I saw her partner, which I knew him through pinball. He was like, "Yeah, I meant to tell you, but yeah, she died." And I was like, "Whoa!" And it's just, I mean, death is just, whenever you hear it, you are never prepared. It is always
Never.
like
If
I
it's
tell,
final, that's it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's strange because like it was like, well, I'm not sad, but also I'm like sad, but not in like like a depressed way, because like I still like went about my day. Funny enough, after I was told that, I immediately went to a cemetery to go do some volunteer work, and I was at the cemetery just like, damn, full circle moment right here, like Jesus Christ. And yeah, you just have to keep going, and you have to just cherish those memories, and the modernized take of you going through this grief of having to see through a screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the summer of 2020.
Fuck. Oh my God. Oh my God. See, that's even darker. Not like bad darker, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't even, when people were dying and you couldn't even go to the fucking funeral because everybody was like,
Couldn't.
Nah, you can't get other people sick and die.
And I was
Oh,
looking at like the rest of like my high school class, like collectively, we didn't fuck with each other since pre-K. And
right.
we were a small school district, so we were for 12 years going year to year with the same people we did not like. We are
Uh-huh.
the only class in this district history that's never had a reunion for ourselves.
Wait, no shit. Mine hasn't had a reunion either. We're 2014. Yeah, we were supposed to do it during COVID, and then just didn't fucking do it.
No, we didn't. We just didn't fucking. We didn't fuck. We came together for a prom, and it was like, okay, this is the last time we're gonna do this, guys.
Yep.
Never again. And then for Nimesh's funeral, there was like 5 people I'm still in contact with. Right now, it's like a single person I'm in contact. Like that's not true. There's a single person I'm in contact with every single day, and like 4 more in regular contact. But everybody else, I don't. We don't fuck with each
I'm in
other.
contact
We
with
never
more
have.
like the teachers. Like I'm friends with teachers on Facebook more than like my fucking classmates. One of them was awkward though. She was my English teacher, and I was looking at her Facebook at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I accidentally liked one of her pictures. So I was like, "Fuck, I gotta send her." A friend request. But yeah, damn, memory
Yeah. So
lane.
I'm gonna put in the chat one of my Hobart pieces so you get the vibe of the people of how we interacted in our district.
Hell yeah. Well, Lisa, is there anything else you want to share?
I'll wait till later to see if Tyler comes in.
Okay.
If he comes in too late, then like I'll do it. It's called Wasted Nights, the Trent Reznor inspired. I guess it's a story, short story. It's like a 1,000 words. It's not longer than Flash.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that he's not here. I worry for the boy. I feel like anytime there's an open mic, he's there. Interesting. Now I'm looking at the chat. Everyone's talking about like being in contact with people. It's weird unless you're from like a small town. Yeah, you make new friends. I would hope people make new friends, but you grow up, you change. But yeah, that's the beauty of aging and the beauty of the human experience is there is change and you meet new people. But Lisa, I really enjoyed this piece.
You meet people you're not forced to be with.
Yes, that you're not in a room for fucking 10 hours a day. Ah, yeah, I probably, oh, man. Oh, okay. I don't want to think about school. I don't want to think of school no more. I want to think about prom because that was fucking fun, but I don't want to think about school.
Yeah, it was fun. Prom was fun. Um, we had good music for prom too,
Oh, I bet.
and we were all pretty good dancers. Thing was, Hoboken likes to keep it on the hush hush, but we had a school shooting my
Oh,
8th grade year, and it was teachers. It was a teacher's husband
your
who
shot at a
thought his wife was having an affair. And they
whoa.
weren't. They actually weren't. It was like a committee they were both on. So it was right after Columbine,
Oh,
and Hoboken was like in the middle of this big revitalization project, getting fully gentrified, like full speed ahead, and they just under the rug. You tell like somebody that's newly in Hoboken about the school shooting, they'll be like,
right.
shooting? Oh yeah, right after column, right after column. Yeah, teachers, not student teachers. Yes. There's a plaque in the park, but most people think he's just the favorite teacher that passed away. Yes, he was the favorite teacher that passed away, but at the hand of someone else.
Wow. Never, never gets thrown under the rug because those memories, people talk. Alumni, the power of alumni, man, they will fucking talk.
Yeah. But like we were a musical group. But after that, we weren't allowed to have a dance because it was the day of I think it was homecoming. So we didn't have a dance until prom.
Wow. Oh, because they just had to like not have any big crowds of people.
Yeah.
Rough. Wowzers.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a prom, and because of that prom, you were able to write this piece and reflect on a good friend who I know is at rest. But seriously, thank you.
That
Thank
Russ.
you. What was their name
He
again?
has a scholarship under his name at Rutgers University in the Master Trio.
Wow. That's beautiful. Fucking A. Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you for having me again.
Always. And yeah,
I
I
like
hope
all the time, like change the mood.
you put it in such a stylistic way, though.
I
It's not
derail it.
bad. Like everybody has it's a mood shift where everybody understands and empathizes. Like everybody in the chat, we all get it. We like you are preaching to the choir. Uh,
Yeah.
so
The
yeah,
ones at the end of the month are more fun. They're lovey-dovey.
yes. All right. Damn, chat is live right now. Anyways, okay, we're gonna move on to our next reader, which okay, I was hoping that Peter would be back, but I guess he was peacing out for the night. I guess that leaves us with Keith and then Tyler. So, and also if Mullane or Kat or Taylor, if y'all want to read, just let me know, message me. But yeah, Keith, you are up next.
Oh, Lord, I'm triggered. I'm gonna have to write about the shotguns at high school, and oh Lord, it's gonna.
Oh Lord.
I got a story now in my head. I wasn't even thinking about that. Well, I do have I've got a story, a short piece from the past, present, and maybe the future. So the first one is Silence of the Times. I wonder what my granddaddy was thinking when we sat together in the den watching All in the Family on Saturday nights on the color TV. When he sat alone on the back porch, chain smoking Salem's, watching the redbirds and blue jays take turns at the bird bath. When we sat together in the smoky den, watching the Vietnam War on CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. When he watched me drive away alone on my 16th birthday. I wonder what my granddaddy was feeling when he visited my grandmother in the nursing home, her wrist bound to a chair, her eyes looking blankly at the screen of a black and white television set. I wonder what my granddaddy was dreaming when he didn't wake up from the surgery and my mother called me with the end of life plans. I wonder what my granddaddy would think if today he could see me writing these memories on my screen, 41 years after his passing. I can only imagine the silence. This the second piece. It's titled Sooner or Later Things May Fit. He's never had to make this decision because it always fit. From the very first day, the day that he said, I do, it was a perfect fit. And now, 45 years later, it's too big. Never once did he see that happening. When he looked into her eyes, he knew that she could sense that something was troubling him. She could tell that after all these years. Things were changing. She knew. And then he spoke. I feel so bad. It's been a part of me for our 45 years together. They looked at it and he asked, "What do you think?" His wife smiled and said, "Everything's fine. It fit so well for so many years, and now things are different. You can't help it. It was bound to happen sooner or later with the illness. It's just too big now." Like always, he knew that she would be understanding, and then he offered his solution. She was all ears. "You know that my grandfather was smaller than me, and I've had his in the box since 1984. It was always too small, but now it fits perfectly. I'm going to take it to places that I know it's never been. What do you think of that?" With her loving green eyes, she smiled and said, "You know what I think about wedding rings." And with that, he just smiled. And I'll turn the camera on to show y'all a book. You might, since David Foster Wallace came up tonight as being a descriptive writer, you've seen this book. This is the 20th anniversary. So I have a piece called Come Punk Heaven. It's a sexual fantasy story. David Foster Wallace is looking into my eyes. I look back, jestingly. He is cum-punking me. I know it. Just before the last time I came, he was there. I splattered on her wall, the wall of shame, the wall of fame. It was a record, 5 times. She loved it. I loved it. We are all cum-punks, giving, receiving, inflating, deflating. It's all a dream, an infinite dream. Alert! My data has been exposed. I am filled with junk files and junk. I see a twinkle in her eye. It's like a television set, the screen looking back. It's on the cover. Cautiously, she looks into the future. She sees what's coming. Everything is coming together. "Come, punk, come," she pleads endlessly. "It's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last. There's a long, long way to go." It's 2025, the year of the cum-punk revolution, years after the year of the depend adult undergarment. We're almost a decade past the 20th anniversary in 2016. Infinity is endless, cum-punk is endless, and we jest about it. "Are you coming?" she begs, immediately realizing that the question is moot. The answer is between the covers, and she knows it. It's big and thick, really thick. She likes to hold it, caress it, and fantasize. She wants to know what's inside. She feels a wetness between her legs. She sees words reflected in my eyes, a smile forming on my lips. She begins to ride into cum-punk heaven and is not disappointed. She leans forward to rest, but I whisper, "Not yet. There's more to come." "Well, punk," she asks, "another round? Are you up to it?" I look up and smile. She knows the answer. This isn't her first cum-punking. I turn the page, and her eyes begin to roll back into her head. She wants it so bad that she can feel it. She knows it's so big, and I'm just getting into it. "Please, please, please," she begs. Let me feel what you're feeling, see what you're seeing. I look down, and above the number 27, I see 1 April, year of the Tux medicated pad. I do the math in my head while she writhes in ecstasy and falls forward onto my book. There's 1,052 pages to go. This is going to be one hell of a ride in cum punk heaven. That's it.
Oh my God. I wanted there to be some silence after that because roller coaster, roller coaster, roller coasters. I mean, from the get-go, Keith, the start of this kind of triptych, if you want to call it a triptych, even though it's it kind of goes from different angles here, but the idea of what was your grandfather dreaming of when he didn't wake up after surgery, that is such a like such an amazing existential question. When I was at the cemetery that I do volunteer work at, there was an article of a woman. She was an interior designer and she died in her sleep. And, I thought about this idea of like the interior design of the mind as it starts to, well, what does it look like for a mind to die? Because does it start physical and then result in the slow kind of dissolution of the mental, or is it dissolution of the mental until the physical is finally, no heartbeat, no blood pumping, vacation of bowels, all that. And it is such a hard thing to think about. And it really makes you think, when people are like, oh, yeah, and whenever I die, I want to die peacefully in my sleep. I'm like, that's terrifying, like to just not wake up because what happens in that dream, you could either go through that DMT release while you're dreaming and experience unconscious death forever, or while you're having the best dream ever, say you're having a dream where you get to see your kids again, or you get to see the love of your life, whatever you're having a good dream, and then it just blank. So that was, I mean, and the silence, the way that you are able to time the silence in your pieces is something that I hope everyone took note of because that was fucking amazing. The second piece I loved, the the way that because we earlier were talking about different generations and how they interact, and well, it's the hand-me-downs and things that didn't fit before fitting now. My grandfathers have shoes that were a little big for me until most recently. I was able to wear them when I was working for the library and when I had like non-service industry jobs, and it's so strange to wear their shoes because at one point I was just this little, little grandkid, and I grew up, and now I am them. I am, carrying on, my family lineage, uh, and then all this to say, David Foster Wallace and Cum Punk Heaven. What? I mean, Rudy's got the combination of pop culture, but Cum Punk and David Foster Wallace, that's fucking great, just amazing. So yeah, when was Infinite Jest published? I need to look that
I
up.
think it was 96.
Wow. So yeah, we are hitting. Yep, yep, you are correct. I wonder what day. Oh, February 1st. Wow.
Yeah, because this is the 20th anniversary edition, and it was I got in 2016. I still haven't read it, by the way. Nobody's read it, I don't think.
I have
Nobody but
not read it. I imagine people here have probably tried and failed, or tried and
yeah,
succeeded. But yeah, it was Mark, I'm curious. You've read it?
I've read it twice.
God damn. So
I loved it. I found it very funny. Um, and I'm amazed by his humor and also his empathy. He's a very like that was what stuck out to me most, and then I ended up reading everything else he wrote up until like his very last book or whatever. But yes, I read it twice straight through.
wow.
And would read it again if I ever had time to read, but I don't. So,
Because it is, I mean, it is 1,000 pages. It is a gauntlet.
and about 200 pages of footnotes.
Yeah.
So,
Fucking A.
uh, 200 or 300 pages of footnotes at the end. So that's and people get intimidated because of his footnotes, and he kind of compared it to hypertext, right? It's like in the early days of computers, the big thing was that, we'd read a blog or something and there would be hypertext. And so we could see something and then it would take us to another page and then we'd kind of go back into the flow. And I always thought that was a useful way of thinking about his footnotes. It's a kind of hypertext. It gives like different layers of reading experience.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, the experience of reading, nowadays is kind of slowed down, where you just see a lot of paper thin books. And the books that are as thick as Infinite Jest are a lot of these like tabletop role playing adventure type books where they look like fucking, I mean, they're huge, and it's like choose your own adventure type novels. Whereas, that's you could call Infinite Jest choose. I mean, not really. I mean, it's very like multiple characters, multiple narratives, all that intertwine with each other. Tragic comedy, as some people would call it, but it is, so it is a vast uh, endeavor of a book to try and just kind of take in all of what encompasses it. And I hope to read it someday. There are many fucking books I need to. If I'm gonna, if I'm gonna call myself a writer, I need to read some of these big, books. But I guess I'm curious, Keith, why the connection between David Foster Wallace and Cum Punk, was that just like a happy coincidence, or?
I don't know where it came from, actually. I don't even, I wrote this piece back 2 or 3 months ago and I didn't put any notes with it. I just sat down and typed it out one day. And it's just came out of nowhere.
Love it. I love that. That's amazing. The
I
best.
love I love the kind of playing with the meme of the big book, because this is something that kind of goes around, floats around Twitter. I think they call it broder, bro lit,
Yeah.
and it's kind of this idea that certain writers are in the vein of David Foster Wallace and they try to write these big kind of encyclopedic novels in sort of the sense of Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce, or Ulysses, and that they're just kind of these incredibly sprawling epic, like maybe Brandon said, like Silmarillion by Tolkien. And so it's kind of playing with this meme of bro literature and the big book, which I thought was really wonderful and funny because David Foster Wallace sort of revived that for the 21st century. And a lot of people don't like him, for that reason, or they resent that aspect of his legacy. But it's fun what you're doing with that.
Thank you. Yeah, so I got that book. I think I bought it back about 2017, maybe a year or so after it came out. But at the time, I was going through the Henry Miller catalog, and I started out, of course, with Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn and Black Spring, and then got into his trilogy books of Sexus, Plexus, and Nexus. And I spent over over a year or two going through his works, and I got this book with the intention when I finished Henry Miller that I was going to dig into David Foster Wallace and see what this book was about. And I've just read segments of it, and then 2020 came and Misery Loves Company, and I wrote a poem and started writing. And and then I started reading the alt-lit books. And I the two books that Ann Wells written, I've read those. I guess I got into Yet and Not Yet, and the compilation books and some others. But yeah, I don't have enough time left to read too many big books.
That's why we're here. You can read our books. I
Yeah, I read everybody's books.
mean, hey, you got Cletus Crow. He's got those amazing short poems.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
read fucking through. I can read all of his catalog today if I wanted to. And there's only 3 hours left in the day.
yeah. Well, thanks for letting me read. I appreciate it, and thanks for the comments.
Absolutely.
Very
Yeah,
nice. Thanks.
I know a lot of people are, we're all thankful that we all got here, but I'm glad that somehow you found this space. I'm glad that somehow I found this space with, starting with Misery Loves Company, coming to now, and just, with writing too, because I did not start writing until really after college. And it's been a weird, fun little ride that I hope to continue doing when I actually feel like I'm writing good shit. But yeah, thank you, Keith.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, up next, thank you for your patience. And maybe last, I don't think I'm gonna read. And also, if anybody else wants to read again, speak now before we end the night. But Tyler Peterson.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, going good. I got my soda.
All right. So, first thing about this piece is I did not write it. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Um, the story behind it is um, I used to print off short stories to read offline because I want to spend less time on the computer. And I was going through my old folder and I found a story that I cannot identify. Got no title, no author on it, and doesn't have any header, footer, or anything in the background. I must have like copy pasted it into a document, save ink. Um, and I've put multiple sentences and paragraphs from the story into Google and not come up with anything. So this is not only a reading, this is a scavenger hunt. If this sounds familiar to anyone, I'd like to know who wrote this. If you want, like, I scanned it. I was about to combine it all into a PDF, but my computer and scanner are both slow pieces of shit. I didn't get that done. I have 5 individual pages for JPEGs. If you want me to throw those in the chat or something.
I mean, yeah, fucking, why not? This is cool as shit. I love a scavenger.
Okay. All right. Let's see how to attach a document here. Okay. Where the hell did I save it to? There we go. Okay, so all the pages should have just shown up in the chat if you're plugged into that. And I'll just start reading right now. 12 of you are assembled here to make a legal decision. So pardon me if I open my closing argument with a legal question that seems at first somewhat beyond your mandate. Would you, given the authority, make love a crime? Well, maybe you would in light of certain experiences, but I get the impression that generally speaking, you'd say no. And yet that is what this case amounts to. Prosecution does not say it in those terms. Theirs is a very technical vocabulary with such confounding verbiage as criminally negligent homicide and assault with a deadly weapon. Law is a language game at heart. The state's vocabulary is like a golf club, precise but blunt. I see it as my task to show just what is being bludgeoned. I don't blame some of you for being skeptical. The state has been nothing if not thorough in its drive to paint my client in the darkest of hues. You could probably make a fun but hazardous drinking game out of the many utterances of the opposing counsel of Black Widow. Frankly, I'm starting to feel bad for the namesake arachnid. But such is what is planted in the collective mind of a rather prurient public when three men come into close contact with the defendant, only to have their lives cut short not long after and seemingly by her hand, or her person, as it were. This, says the prosecution, is evidence of a pattern. Each of these men entered the tunnel of love to their impending doom as voluptuously personified by my client. I'll give the prosecution this. There was a pattern, but it was not so sinister as they'd have you believe. There is no pattern that I can see in the manner of the deaths of my client's lovers. Victim A was suffocated. Victim B, strangled. And victim C's heart just sort of stops. Sure, there's video evidence that put victim A's breathing troubles in a rather baroque context. Expert testimony regarded the simple suggestion of victim B's self-administered strangulation as Buñuelian, and victim C's toxicology report showing a distinct presence of fentanyl in his system is something worth considering. And to the state, there is nothing left to consider but for you to render the defendant guilty for her role in their fates. This woman, so totally unlike yourself, so beneath you in morals and emotional maturity, certainly you cannot see yourself capable of suffocating, strangling, or poisoning anyone, right? But the pattern, what is the pattern? If you don't know the pattern by now, I seriously question your humanity. Love, people of the jury, love is the pattern. All three men were in search of love. All three men were pining for a special connection. My client was no less hungry for intimacy in a world that seemed to her, as surely it was to them, unfeeling and withholding. What joy it is that people in need can find one another and be true with each other. Here I can understand the prosecution taking the clinical route in their case, for in so doing, they work around a necessary yet not altogether possible aspect of it. Only when you comprehend the contents of the hearts of each person involved will you evaluate this case fairly. Look only at the facts of the case, the prosecution insists. Judge the defendant accordingly. No doubt that would be revealing. Less about my defendant than about love seen through the eyes of a district attorney. A cold love, that is, procedural, transactional, brutally confident in its judgment. It is a love guided by the light of reason, and yet so limited in its expressive capacity and innocent of the nuances of private affection. This is the love of a stage parent, the love of a wolf. You've seen played over and over the final moments of victim A. It is one thing for the prosecution to tell you this is a crime, but quite another to say this is bad judgment. Who's judging badly? They refuse to say. It is loaded refusal. It extends logically from the defendant onto the man who is under her. It does not matter that we cannot exactly catch his sentiments. Having your ribs broken between someone's legs imposes certain restrictions on your ability to communicate. But moments of agony, and moments of ecstasy are not always easy to discern. In such ambiguities of feeling, alleged victim and alleged assailant are condemned equally. I'd considered illustrating my point with firm intellectual grounding, but I thought the better of it. Martha Nussbaum and Katie Royfe didn't return my emails for one, but more importantly, I realized I didn't need it. Intellectualizing the vicissitude of love renders love unintelligible. It would bring me a little too close to the cold storage unit that is the prosecution's case. If we can't reason through my defendant's innocence, if we can't know exactly the desires with your forever silenced lovers, that leaves only one last source. You 12, with minds that think and hearts that beat, must understand the desires within yourselves. This has its dangers. For once you do so, you may see a marked change in scenery. You are no longer in the jury box, but in the chair where my client now sits. Quite a strange place to be, isn't it? Your passions scrutinized aloofly, your very body seen as a lethal weapon. Once in that unenviable position, you consider more deeply what exactly the defendant is guilty of having desires, being present for vulnerable partners, of intuiting their needs poorly, or of providing for needs in excess of conventional limits, precisely as requested. I'm not asking you to face your own desires and to set them aside those involved in the case. It does not matter if they don't go nearly as far, or if they go farther still. That is between you and someone who cares. It's not for the eyes or the conscience of the justice. Nevertheless, you will adjourn and you will have to decide if the defendant is guilty of the act of love. You will need that deep knowledge to aid in your deliberation. Or if guilt is your judgment, the stopping of 3 individual hearts will seem quaint compared to the breaking of societies. Difficult for us to think of social change as being made in the discretion and the desire of people better than us. In this context, it's even preferable to leave all the most difficult questions to the wisdom of a senator, of a president, of a judge, or even just the committee of lawyers they secret away in a broom closet. It's a nice arrangement, democracy. The important people get to do all the heavy lifting, while you get to vote as a treat. There's a curious loophole in our democratic system, one that brings a hard issue in uncomfortably close proximity to the people most likely to be affected by it, the jury trial. I've often believed that the reticence to serve on a jury comes not from any selfish motive, but from humility. Why be burdened with the awesome responsibility of having to move your community forward? Maybe it doesn't seem that way for a disputed traffic violation or even a murder, but there are times, infrequent enough, though momentous as they are, where society behaves in such a way as to force our hand on matters, as if it was calling for help. And who are we not to answer its call? That, I think, is a fine way to look at this case, as a call for help. Prosecution agrees with me in that respect, though they'd like you to focus on the particular. That is, on my clients, who need a lot of it. And the only way for them to get it is for a guilty verdict and a steep imprisonment. You see, society as we now live in it looks askance at people who go into cemeteries, break into a mausoleum, remove its contents, and parade them around the streets in a muumuu and a clown wig to the blast of various jock jams. Presently, it's hard to imagine it being otherwise, that I would not be called, that you would not be summoned, that these 3 men would go unmolested by the icy fingers of justice. Wouldn't it be great if none of this were necessary? But fortune often acts in a way contrary to our wants. We are here to serve a concise and significant purpose, to decide the fate of your fellow citizens. And I don't just mean those sitting next to me. You may not like my clients, you may disapprove of their hobbies, you may find them distasteful, morbid, and any other unseemly English adjective under the sun. I'm fine to agree with you. Their lifestyle is frankly beyond me. Their attitudes disturb me. Their lack of sentiment towards the community, towards all humankind, is an air of defiance. These rebels against whatever you have to offer them. But, and is there ever a but? But are they criminals? There are definitely points at which my clients have erred in their judgment. What's so special about going blind into a graveyard, into the first available burial site? They could have taken their time, shopped around, if you will. There's no shortage of cadavers interred under any number of circumstances. They preferred a body with remaining kin rather than one on its own. They could have petitioned that kin for its use. And if the kin had reservations, they could have reassessed their options. It's not very fun, but every prudent arrangement had its good and bad trade-offs. Camp and thrill is traded for those strengthens ties to the community. Disparate elements brought closer together. Instead, these men behaved rashly and made assumptions. They prejudged their peers, and who in turn prejudged them, creating this very predicament. Cases like this have a way of exposing the worst in everyone, revealing how little we know of each other and of how little we want to know. Subtract some of the relevant details of it, and you have at its core a very common problem, an inability and an unwillingness to communicate. A grand gesture can communicate several messages. Chief among them, though, is the desire to show your true self. My clients dwelled long in the shadows of their community. For some, shadows bring comfort. For these men, loneliness. Such was their loneliness that it seemed nothing, truly nothing, was off the table as a means of escape. But when these men resolved to come out into the light, the community resolved to entomb them in the law. It is left to you, fairly or not, to determine who acted the wiser. I don't claim that my clients heeded much, really any wisdom in their choices, but if I can redirect the scrutiny the other way, I've done my job. One of the most important stamps of our society is tolerance. Your commonality with the defendants is rooted in your difference from them in your shared social context. Most of you go about your lives happy in the knowledge that whether or in spite of or because of your eccentricities, you're respected. And the respect you give back completes the equation that answers in freedom. In a sense, what I'm asking of you isn't really social change. It's closer to a grammatical correction or going into society's programming code and patching a vulnerability. That it is more modest does not lighten the gravity of the task. In fact, maybe heavier. Any social glitch left unfixed could have far-reaching impacts than any top-down policy reform. And any grammatical error left standing will become the new standard of our idiom. To censure dramatic misbehavior and not expect that censure to drift like snow from a mountain over more self-conscious misbehavior is an habitual fallacy, and one you are here empowered not to repeat. You may, at your leisure, consider the various motives put forth by opposing counsel. Motives regarding ongoing feuds and unevenly verifiable accusations, histories of instability, dashboard and body cam footage that tell their own stories. You may look at all these and say without a second thought, society just works fine. Guilty. Can I get my per diem and Dave and Buster's tickets? That's your choice, but it's what you'll have to live with if you make it. What I humbly posit is, what if you didn't make that? What if you looked past the criminal minutiae, the reports, the citations, and the litany of complaints and out into the wide open air of our nation, the nation we all have to go back into with the knowledge of what has happened in this room? What if you saw the error for what it was and replaced it with the truth? Putting that out there. That's the end.
Huh. And you've typed in almost all of the. So for those of y'all just joining us, we're trying to figure out who actually wrote this piece. Damn.
It's actually two pieces, two separate related pieces. I skipped over a chapter break in there.
Okay. Damn. And Google just didn't give you any leads.
Didn't give me any leads.
So I guess I'm curious, like, what brought you to like be close with this piece? I mean, I know for me, it takes me to this space of like kind of To Kill a Mockingbird with like that, like To Kill a Mockingbird, 12 Angry Men with like, these incredible monologues. And of course with this piece, kind of mixing like the legality of like passions and emotions. Like I could kind of see that going on.
I guess what made this piece stand out for me is like just the thought of being defense attorney and having to defend whatever, like it being your duty to defend whatever client is set in front of you, whatever they did, and being able to come up with convincing arguments in their favor, and that requiring just like such a level of, you know, compartmentalization of your own feelings and um, just like mental and moral flexibility, which like paradoxically requires a lot of empathy to be able to
Right.
to accomplish. And just like in a sense, I kind of envy anyone. Like we look down on lawyers a lot, but in a sense, I kind of envy whoever's able to like do that. I mean, I'm sure that doing that for a living comes with all sorts of attendant like identity issues. It would to me,
Yeah, because you have to
like
have
having to come up with so many.
like yeah, you bend what it's like you bend morality, but also not because you have to you're within the confines of like the Constitution, obviously, but you do have this. Well, like I'm reminded of I recently read The Killer Inside Me, and there was a quote in the book where the lawyer or the defense lawyer says, I studied plants and I studied weeds, and the quote that changed me forever was, "A weed is a plant out of place." And to relate that, like weed is not bad. Depends on where it is, because if a weed is in your garden, it's a plant out of place. But if a weed is in the forest, it's exactly where it needs to be. And that goes for behavior and quote unquote people doing bad things. It depends on context. But yeah, to I think empathy is absolutely the correct word, because it's a matter of understanding.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of understanding like what will convince people and a willingness to use any of that, even if like you personally wouldn't find it convincing, or maybe you like totally disagree with it. Like,
You just have to have that strong argument, because you could absolutely have a defense lawyer that just completely fucks it. They just completely just kick and it goes way right or way left. They just miss their mark. But to have that eloquence in your speech to really connect with the jury and with and to combat the prosecution, it's not easy. I do not envy people that have to do that for a living. I mean, it's got to eat at you.
well, yeah, I mean, I can if I had to do stuff like that as part of my work, it would lead to serious identity issues. Like if you can muster up a believable sounding argument for whatever, whether you believe in it or not, then at a certain point, when you like start to lose track of what you actually do believe,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would be too on the
like
fence.
how do I know that my beliefs are actually my beliefs? Did I just fucking talk myself into it? Like I talk people into things every day.
Yeah, like how do you make your own beliefs concrete and solid and stuck to you? Like I had a friend describe, like there's no such thing as a relativist, because if you think about moral relativism, all of these morals down here and a person up here looking at all of these options. Well, at a certain point, you have to fall back down and pick. You can't just look at everything. I mean, everyone's got to have something. And it's a cat. I think this is also what being super deep in the online clout game must be like. Yeah, no, absolutely. There is an element of what is it? Advantageous, beliefs at certain points in time, and it's all about, the advantageousness of can you really speak up for what you believe in? Can you really hold principles close to your heart? And can you muster the courage, courage and the confidence to secure your own identity? And some people, I mean, shit, I think I fucked myself forever by studying philosophy because, like, I can understand points from a lot of different, views and perspectives. It's hard.
Like
Of course, I don't know, like,
it's the same thing on the timeline as it is in the courtroom. Even if you actually believe the things you're saying, you're not saying it because you actually believe it. You're saying it to win.
yeah,
If like
yeah.
saying something different would get you to win, you'd say that.
Yeah. And there's always, yeah, it always feels like a competition. And for me, whenever I feel like there's a competition going on, I'm like, I don't want to play anymore. Like, whatever, you win. Like, I know what I believe. I don't want to have to, like, I don't feel like I have to justify myself, but I do. Like, even indirectly, even if I don't have to like argue, like every day that I wake up and go throughout my day, like I'm justifying myself just by putting myself into space. Damn. Well, shit. I hope you find whoever wrote this piece. This is a good fucking piece.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So, when did you first discover this piece?
Well, I like about a week ago, I was applying to the open fiction editor, assistant fiction editor position over at Apocalypse Confidential. And I was looking through this because I thought I remembered a specific story that I wanted to mention in it. I didn't find it, but I did find this. So
Fucking A. Man, well, if you did apply, I hope you get it. I know that it is Apocalypse Confidential does a lot of great work. I was very happy when I got my first publication there last year. Um, oh gosh, I could be so petty and talk about when I got rejected the first time I submitted there. But that I think that editor is no longer there. But I love and respect everybody else that works at Apocalypse Confidential. But no, I fucking wish you luck, dude. Fingers fucking crossed.
thanks.
And yeah, excellent reading of the piece too. I mean, again, it's hard to read like a lawyer, to read like you are presenting a case, and I think you killed it. Shit, if anything, I hope this piece serves as some inspiration for some writing of yours in the future.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's definitely gonna watch Law and a lot of Law and Order if you couldn't tell.
Hell yeah. No, yeah, it wasn't Law and Order. What did I? Well, no, I literally was in 12 Angry Men when I was in high school, and I was on a murder trial. I was not me. I was in the jury. I was a juror of a murder trial, and I was the what do you call it? The foreman. So like I had to persuade everybody to like make a decision, and we made a decision. I was very shocked that I was able to do that. So if I could
I
tell,
forget who plays that part in the movie.
I forget who it is too. When I was in the play
It's been
of
a few years.
it's been a while. When I was in the play of 12 Angry Men, I was the fucking guard, and I had one line, and that one line was cut by the director. I was so pissed. I was so mad. It was such a like the line didn't even matter, but it got cut. But then years later, I was deciding whether a man should rot in prison or not. So fucking A, look at me go. Anyways, thank you so much, Tyler, for reading. I think, I mean, I will for sure. This is being recorded. I'll get this uploaded to YouTube, and I will let everyone know when I do upload it. There's a scavenger hunt in this reading. Please, maybe we can offer a reward or something. That'd be fucking cool.
And I'll try and transcribe this into a document that people can read.
Excellent.
I can throw the link up on my on wherever.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right. So I noticed in the chat that Lisa, you want to give it a shot, the Trent Reznor piece?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. So this one, I ran it through my group that had a bunch of romance writers in it, and it didn't get completely edited clean, but it went through some censors.
Haha.
Entitled Wasted Nights. The F line would only be occupied by the homeless and me, Vero, in those days. No one dared step foot on the subway after a certain time on certain lines. I chuckle at stories of how it used to be. Love will make you do foolish things like jump the turnstiles from Jersey into Manhattan and take the downtown to Brooklyn, only to circle back up into the LES. 2.5 hours for a shoddy and a half pump. Ah, to be young and stupid. Trent was at the studio that night. He was mixing a secret album. That and blowing bands on blow. God, I hated it when they were recording just a den of guys not showering for days on end, bopping to static beats and nodding away. I'd be on food duty as always, ordering and sometimes cooking, vacuuming the cocaine when JJ wasn't looking, and always making sure the vegan spot gave us extra sauce on the side. If it was a long night, I'd sneak an actual meat burger. Nights with Trent were always long nights. I had time. JF sent a car service for me to the office. No need to brave the F that night. JF was splashy when paid, but stingy on the regular. Oh. We were on the guest list at Happy Endings, and I, of course, was in my corporate suit. No worries. I was soon too drunk and stripped down to my camisole, swaying to dubstep while on the rickety massage tables. I was better with a few in me, loose and chatty, charming. I came up with the idea of going to the studio after Trent suggested I give him head. I found a more willing participant for the job and led her to the booth before I dashed upstairs. The stench hit my nose as soon as I opened the building door. Tripod was screeching from hunger. I was last there 3 days prior, and the motherfuckers hadn't bothered to feed the cat. The apartment was trashed. It was an absolute disaster on a normal day. That night was different. No Name was on a train to Texas, and it was just JJ and JF trying to dazzle Trent. How do you dazzle a rock star? With powders, pills, and pussy. It's a winning combination and the trifecta that got Trent through the dark nights. Nights when the rage was all that was there to feel, and an overturned couch was just a minor occurrence. Nights where the lines tracked all over the coffee table and empty bottles casually set atop the counter. That night I had time. I remember when I gifted JF a 500 thread count Egyptian cotton sheet set for the bare mattress she had on the floor. I was tired of chafing on the tough ribbed exterior. He said thanks and tossed it aside. I waited until he was down at the studio to fix the bed. Later, he questioned the quality of the linens. That night I sat peacefully amongst the scattered dime bags on the floor. I needed my comforts, especially on an empty stomach. God, I was so hungry. Eating was a no-no when I was on J. Jeff's arm. His fuck shit standards followed me around for years afterwards. That night, the boys would be chasing the rhythm between pulls, lines, and swills. I had time, and the time was spent taking out the trash. I tiptoed carefully around the broken glass and made my way to the kitchen for the bin. Of course, it was full. I had to make do with the scattered bodega bags and collected them while I filled them at the same time. I didn't bother with the litter. I brought it to the dumpster and just got a new one at the 24-hour spot after hauling half the contents of the apartment out to the curb. All the bulk was gone and my stomach was grumbling, but the place still stunk. I went back to the 24-hour spot and bought every cleaning product they had. It was a limited selection. They had a new mop since the old one carried the scent of all the piss that missed the toilet. The upside down couch made it easier to get all the extra strength Arm& Hammer powder into the carpeting. I went into the bathroom and covered all the surfaces with baking soda. The bleach hissed and steamed as I poured it onto the tiles. Using the broom, I tried to scrub the rings around the tub to no avail. I stopped when I got lightheaded, and it was then that I noticed the chemicals had burnt through the rubber gloves. The Dyson was the only decent investment the boys had made for the place. It left not a single trace of coke and did a damn good job on the carpet, too. Slowly, the apartment started to look habitable again. I opened all the windows to let out the fumes and back to work in the bathroom. Trent interrupted me. He was hungry. I called in our regular order at the Thai place and grabbed a few bucks from the stash to pay for the pickup. Truthfully, I was avoiding time alone with Trent. When I returned, the whole gang was in the apartment passing a blunt and waiting for the food. Even Casey, JJ's girlfriend, had arrived. Somebody put the couch back in its place. It was probably JJ looking for his 8-ball that was in the belly of the Dyson. I was tired and took a couple hits. JJ pulled out his guitar, and the boys began serenading us. It was fun, actually. I almost wanted to stay. Trent took a few bumps and offered to share. I crawled into the bedroom. I wasn't with the shits. I didn't partake. I couldn't even pretend to stand it. God, what a long night. JJ followed soon after. He really was a perfect male specimen to look at. He was tall and strong, his brawny chest tapered into the perfect V. He could lift me with one arm and toss me onto the bed with little effort. It could have been magical, but it never was. And as I reached for him, he whispered he loved me. Finished and slumped back to sleep. Then I knew it was over. I laid on the bathroom floor naked and crying. Trent et al. Were passed out in the living room. I finished their whiskey, got dressed, tapped the stash, and bounced with the rent money. The end.
The end. Wow. Okay, this was fucking cool. See, you have pieces that don't change the mood too severely. This is a good, awesome, fun piece. So, like,
But what the other version was, I'm gonna try to recover it.
so this is a edit.
Yeah, this is a cleaner version.
Cleaner. So it was more, what, X-rated, more drugs, more.
Probably a lot more cursing.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if there was more drugs.
I mean, if it's
There's
Trent,
definitely cursing.
nothing wrong with cleaning it up a little bit. I mean, it's weird because I work in kitchens, so I like all I hear every day is curse words and slurs. Like,
Yeah, there was a lot. So the producer I dated was a vegetarian, so there was a lot of more meat eating in the story.
ah, okay.
Yeah.
So was it
So.
okay? So first off, I mean, I get because I don't know. Have you ever like met Trent Reznor and hung out with Trent Reznor?
Oh yeah. Oh, you weren't there at the end of the last session.
I think
Yeah,
I slipped out. I either like left.
you were
So
probably sleeping because it was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning at that point.
holy shit! So this
That's why that's why uh Tyler requested it. And he's like, "Oh, do you have any writing from that time?"
no shit. Okay, so I thought this was like you took a person that resembled Trent Reznor and then just made him Trent Reznor. But no, this is
Oh,
actually fucking Trent Reznor.
yeah. The studio was a poppin' ass studio. They differ. They recorded a lot of good things.
That's incredible. Wow. Damn. I think the closest I've ever been to hanging out with somebody quote unquote famous was I did cocaine with a guy who was in Austin Powers Gold member, but he was only in like one scene.
But
I
that's
don't know the album they were working on though. It might have been when he started scoring
okay. Yeah, okay.
movies
So yeah, I was gonna ask like this was what, like peak of the career?
early
Okay.
early to that.
So fucking cool. So yeah, I wonder. So like, is Trent Reznor? Is he sobered up or is he still?
Yeah, he sobered up.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah, he's a family guy now.
he's a family guy. Yep, yep. The rockers either do one of two things: they either burn out or they become a family guy,
Yeah,
or they
there
sell.
aren't that many options.
That's true. Yeah, but I don't know. You gotta. I mean, that's just such a cool slice of not only your life, but I guess this introduction and kind of short kind of window looking in, looking out of that kind of lifestyle and just being
Yeah,
exposed to that life and like
Happy Endings was a real club too.
and what?
Happy Endings was a real club.
A club called Happy Endings.
It was a massage parlor that got raided, and like they turned it into a club that same week.
No
And
fuck.
they kept the massage tables, like they kept it real dingy on purpose.
That's
The sound system was good though. It was industry only when I started going. And then they opened it to the public.
so like industry as in the music industry.
Yeah, like only music, like the musicians of the day and execs.
So they're like, who, what studio are you with, or what recording label are you with, and then that would get you in.
Not they had to know you already.
Oh, oh,
That
oh.
wasn't even, like there wasn't even a. Eventually, they brought like a guest list, and you can ask to be put on and things like that. But it looked like a straight up a rated massage parlor for a while before it was open to the public. But it was already like part of it was kept intact with the massage table, and then the other part was like updated to be clubby and to add a bar and stuff like that.
Cool. That's so fucking cool. I love how I initially thought this was like historical fiction, but now this is just real life nonfiction, just straight up like I mean maybe some details changed, but like for the most
Huh.
part, this is
I
like
didn't steal the money. I would never steal money. Like that's too much.
good, smart
But I wanted
answer.
to.
I've uh I've stolen money because I'm a dumb fucking asshole twice. Once when I was drunk at a music festival and I saw a guy's tip jar and I like put a 20 in and walked away and I was like, "Wait a minute, I want that 20." And so I took that 20. I went to go buy nachos. I ate the nachos and then I threw them up. So immediate karma, just
Karma, immediate karma.
immediate. The second time I stole money, I was working in a restaurant. I went up to the bar. Some guy had paid for his tab in cash, but he paid using a $50 bill. It had fallen off the bar onto the ground. And again, it's dark. And so I see it and I'm like, I just put my shoe over it. And then I pretend like I dropped something, pick it up, go in the back, and I bought weed with it. So, but yeah, no karma there. It was pretty great. I just got 50 bucks. If it,
Interesting times. They're always like either flat out broke or they had like cash like rappers because most of the time it was rappers that they were working with.
no shit. Yeah, and all that cash, dude. Because that was real. Back in the day, yeah, they would just have cash. Because like you people like because like they didn't trust banks, and a lot of people still don't trust banks.
Yeah, and they were funding it with drug deals.
Right. It was always like dirty money. And so
Yeah.
you couldn't put it anywhere. Fucking A. Yeah, that was always like weirdly enough, nowadays cash is like such a like it's not necessarily a sign of wealth, but like back in the day, if you just pulled out a wad and you had like the wad of like 20s and 100s and then there was the other wad with like just ones, for like whatever petty shit like that
Now
was
the opposite. Now they're keeping you out if you have cash.
dude, yeah, like all of the gentrified areas they're like we don't do cash, we
Right.
don't do card, like or whatever or Bitcoin fucking for those places which God forbid. Man, that was such a great fucking. I'm glad you read it. I'm like glad that we came around to end on this piece, because we all have experiences with
hanging out with famous people, or like, oh, my friend, like my coworker's girlfriend was held by Project Pat when she was born because her dad, like crazy shit where I'm like, bro, Project Pat touched, like, held you as a naked ass baby. Like, that's crazy. I tell that story at every dinner. Like, no way. But we all have these experiences with famous people, with musicians. It's just, sometimes it is for a whole summer. Sometimes it is more personal. And other times it's just, in passing. But super, super cool. And I hope that you write more pieces like this, because just hearing more and more about your life, Lisa, it's just so clear that, like, you're in this, incredible trajectory of, like, with dancing and with music, with playwriting, writing in general, with just creating, that, like, I don't know, you've got an impressive career, both on
I've
paper.
been around the block.
You've been around and you've seen a thing or two about a thing or two, and it's fucking cool to have you here, man.
I was talking, I don't know if, Matthew Dexter, that I haven't even touched the baseball stories yet.
Baseball. Ooh, the
And
sport.
that's where my nonprofit career started.
Cool.
So there's a little on my Instagram, there's like a little snippet of a flash piece. But have a lot of baseball stories. But working with MLB was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, baseball, like, you can't even hang out at a game for a long time because they have the fucking shot clock for pitching, which is so,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, this is, you could hang out at a game and not be home until like 2 a.m. Like, you'd have like multiple innings way past the ninth inning. Like, man,
Forget the night. We go into the teens and 20s with the innings.
hell yeah. It goes back to, the fact that, like, you think back to when you were young and when things seemed like they were better, and there was just such a beautiful innocence and also a kind of, like, beautiful recklessness about, like, the things you could get away with and the way things were ran back then, and how things seemed to be more, like, sensitized, and like people aren't allowed to fuck up cool ways nowadays. It's like, I don't know. There's a,
It is now.
yeah, and there's a sheltering, where it's like we want to, like, oh, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through, and it's like, well, what you went through was cool as shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh no, when my parents tell me what they used to do, I'm like, man, my teen years didn't fucking compare. I mean, like, I did cool shit, but, like, would have been a lot cooler if I could have done it the way they did it, but different strokes. And regardless, everybody in this chat, in this call, we're all so young and creative, and we have so many more cool stories to live and experience. So, and that's something to look forward to. Look at that.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't have to stop.
Never. Exactly. It doesn't have to stop. What a beautiful, look at this. Look at this positive ending. This great uplifting. I'm ancient. Okay, user. Yeah, you are not ancient. Get the fuck out of here. Okay.
The whole cocaine thing, though, the person that inspired JJ was very superstitious, a very superstitious cokehead, and I used to fuck with him by messing up his cocaine lines and blaming it on the ghost.
Oh my God. Bye, Tyler. No,
But
that's so funny. Who was it? It was a superstitious cokehead. No, I had a person that was like this. Who was it? It's gonna come to me, and I wish I could do it while I was live, but no, I love my, like, anxious and my, like, paranoid drug friends because it was so easy to fuck with them, man.
it's so easy to fuck with him. He has a couple Grammys now.
Get the
He
fuck
he won his first Grammy while I was like dating the JF inspired guy. My boyfriend at the time was so jealous of that. So jealous. How did the cokehead get it? He was energized.
Yeah, I was about to say he probably never slept. That's all he did was he was fucking grinding, man. Wow. All right.
Imagine he stumbles on the YouTube later and he's like, I knew she was messing with the coke line.
God damn. Worst fear, but no, I mean, hey, it wouldn't vilify. It's like I'm not crazy. I was never crazy. Lisa, I love your stories. I can't wait to hear more. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, fucking thank you. Okay. Well, before I end the call, does anybody have any other pieces that they would like to read? I'm not gonna read. I thought I had something to read, but I am just gonna let it let the clock run out. Yeah, y'all mentioned there was weather. Yeah, it just started raining for me here. It's not thundering or lightning, but it is raining, and it is very nice. Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and we can go and hang out in the after party. Once again, my name is Morgenrede. This has been Media Agnostic Doom Journaling, an open mic every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom for all of the crazy, extreme creatives out there who want to read the shit that they can't read anywhere else. Have a good weekend. Keep writing, keep being creative, and keep being fucking weird.